So the point that they were arguing is that, and I don't even know why, but the notion that the notion that Brandon Aiyuk, who the Patriots wanted, would not have turned down more money to go to the Patriots. So the Patriots must have done something like not offered him a lot of guaranteed money. What was the argument? You tell me what's going on.
Yeah.
Ayuk's not coming to the Patriots. What happened?
So I think the bottom line, just to simplify it, is they offered a lot of money. He just didn't want to come here, Fred. And that's basically what it is. And I think where we got into our discussion was, I think there was a question on the other side, meaning, Mike and Tony, that I think they just don't believe that they offered legitimate money. Like, don't just tell us like the total, give us like the specifics of what the guarantees are.
All right.
And I don't have those, Fred. So it's
well,
like,
and I don't care. I honestly don't care. I don't think that the fans care really either about that. But first of all, what's interesting about it is that they wanted Aiyuk that bad.
yeah.
And they did want him. I mean, they had offered San Francisco. They were going to make a trade for him, and they were going to pay him a lot of money. Regardless, it was going to be a lot of money. Regardless of the structure of it, they were going to pay Brandon Aiyuk like one of the best receivers in the NFL. Is that interesting to you that at this time in the rebuild, they're that all in on a veteran receiver? Not he's young, but a veteran receiver.
It's very interesting to me, Fred. And I think part of it is so they've had 12, 13 practices now. And to me, the biggest storyline with the team outside of obviously Drake May's development is the offensive line. And I guess there's one thing to be said for if you get a number one receiver in here, like it maybe makes things easier for the offensive line. So I guess that would be the argument. But to me, I'm not even sure that would have made that much of a difference right now based on what we've seen from the line. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
so
I mean, yeah.
so you get Aiyuk and you pay him, and you're paying him a lot for this season. If you make that trade, you're giving him money.
Yeah.
Drake May's not going to be throwing to him this season until at least later in the season. Do you think there's any way Drake May starts week one?
Not right now. Not, I guess there's always a chance something could shift, but it certainly doesn't seem like it's headed in that direction right now.
Well, how do you think the line played on Thursday night, Mike?
Really tough, Hardy, So I look at it, first of all, like the context and circumstances of it. The right tackle, Chukwuekorafo, hadn't practiced leading into the game. I don't think anyone thought he was even going to play, Hardy. And then the left guard, City So, was like a game time decision. Like he's working out with the medical staff before the game. And you're thinking to yourself, this is a preseason game. Like, why they even, like, if it's even that close, why would you even chance it? So you get these two guys end up playing in the game. They both look like rusty. Would they play like 10 snaps between the first two drives? And didn't look good, Hardy. Didn't look good to me. I mean, there were a couple plays where I guess there was time, but
yeah,
like to me, if you don't have line play, like it's hard to do anything else.
Mike Wenu is arguably this team's best offensive lineman. Why have they not moved him out to tackle to protect the quarterback more?
So it's a great question, and I think part of it is like, I'm guessing here that they view the interior, like the two guards in the center, as like one piece, and if they can keep that together, so City So left guard, David Andrews center, Micah Wenu right guard, like that's a huge part of this, and they probably figure like, and they've been actually together for the most part since the start of camp, so they've built something there. So it's like, okay, if we do, it comes down to the same old argument. Do we create another hole to fix a different hole, or do we sort of stay with that and deal with just the one hole? And I guess that's probably the thinking there.
I would argue that tackle's more important at this point, especially when you have a young quarterback you're trying to get some reps to, right?
That's a fair argument. I think the other one would be like, what did Tom Brady used to say? Like he actually hated the pressure coming right up the middle versus, where he could maybe see it or feel it more on, coming from the tackle side. But to your point, John, like free agency, who gets paid more? Usually tackles, right? Actually,
Yeah.
Wenu got paid as a tackle. So hard for me to argue. I guess there's probably two sides to it. It's however a team wants to approach it, but you could probably win that argument on either side.
Well, I mean, just look at the draft. I mean,
Right guards aren't getting taken in the top 10.
No, right guards aren't getting taken number one overall.
Yeah.
I mean, there's getting taken ahead of Barry Sanders in the Tony
That's
Mandarich
right.
situation. Yeah.
And the other thing we've talked about, I think specific to Awenu, I think if they view him as a player, they might tell you he could be like a 10 out of 10 right guard, and at his best, he might be an 8 out of 10 right tackle, which is still very good, but maybe not like where, you know what I mean? Not like the elite.
Sure. I get it. Now, Drake May, how did he look yesterday? How he got a lot of reps yesterday, I'm to understand.
Yeah, through one interception, Fred, where he like adjusted his arm slot, tried to sneak it through the line, ball got popped up in the air. I would say like nothing changed for me yesterday, Fred, in terms of how he looked. Like he's still the number 2 quarterback. He's still got the great arm talent. Still looks like there's a gap between him and Jacoby for that number 1 spot.
I thought you had a good point that you made yesterday in your notes or in your column about how the Texans utilized and used C.J. Stroud in the game last year around this time, and I guess the similarities to what Mayo is doing with Drake May.
So thanks, Hardy. And I think on that, so basically C.J. Stroud played 2 series last year. It was like 12 snaps. Now, Drake, we got to be honest here. I mean, playing 6 or 7 snaps, if you include a false start, that's really conservative. Like the Patriots are taking a very conservative approach. Like we cannot sugarcoat that when you compare it to like all the other quarterbacks that have been in this situation. One difference, Hardy, that has been pointed out to me that I think is fair, like on Stroud, last year, the Texans probably figured he was going to be their week 1 starter. Whereas with Drake, they're not projecting that right now. So usually when you're not going to be the week 1 starter, you're going to play more in the preseason, not less. Do you know what I mean? So that's one difference. I tried to put it in there. I don't know if I made the point strong enough, but I guess my bigger point is Drake did not play as much as most young quarterbacks do in their first preseason game. There's still 2 games to go, and they've already said it. That number is going to grow significantly over the next couple weeks.
I'm trying to figure out the status of the offense in general, reading you and others that are there. And Pop Douglas had the red uniform off, and he was back on the field in a full capacity. And everyone who was there said it made all the difference in the world to have Pop Douglas on the field. Is that where we are with this offense, that a day 3 pick that's small, that's having trouble staying on the field, is the major difference maker for this offense?
I think it's very fair, John. I do think he makes I agree with that. Like I think he's their best option right now in the sense of he can uncover quickly and make it easier for quarterbacks. I would add one maybe little caveat, like we haven't seen the running game in sort of full like throttle. So if you're looking to hang your hat on something that could make this work for them, it would be a running game that also opens up things in the passing game, if that makes sense, right? Like play action. We haven't seen full Ramondre Stevenson, full Antonio Gibson, an offensive line that they're just saying fire off the ball and we're ground and pounding. Not the way you probably win in today's NFL, but maybe a way you can sustain a little bit and try to get this thing going in the right direction.
All right. Let's talk about the legend of Joe Milton. Joe Milton played well, and who last year played? Who was the kid last year that?
Malik Cunningham ran for a touchdown, and everyone was, Malik Cunningham.
No, he didn't catch that touchdown. It was a really good pass, but it was not actually. But Mike,
he
correct
ran
me
for
if I
scored.
He ran for one, but he had one good pass that I believe was not caught.
But I have heard someone called Joe. Joe Show, and campaigned for Joe Milton. Why not be the big starting quarterback?
Why not Joe?
What have you seen for him in practice, and what are your thoughts on Joe Milton?
So, well, first of all, Fred, he just doesn't get as many reps. So that tells you how the coaches view it. Like it's Jacoby, Drake, and then a significant drop off between the next two, Bailey Zappi and Joe Milton. So just take it from like how the Patriots are approaching it. And then when he gets in there, I think what we've seen is a tremendous arm, a great sort of energetic leader. I think the players do like him and respond to him. And when the first read is there, I mean, and he rips it, it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I think to me that's where we are right now. And like, he's a young quarterback, and I think it's like develop him, and like they might have something there to whether it's a backup or a potential quarterback they can trade in the future. I don't think we're at a point where like it's like he's surpassing Drake May. I don't think that's sort of the conversation right now.
Well, I mean, this is very hot. You're speaking very highly of the gentleman. I mean, you're saying a possible backup or trade piece. Interesting.
Down the line, Fred. So like that would be maybe not this year, but like if he keeps developing and has another good preseason, that would be like similar to what the Packers used to do when Elliot Wolf's dad was running the show out there. Like guys like Matt Hasselbeck, Aaron Brooks, Mark Brunell, like that was sort of how they did business out in Green Bay back in the day.
Oh yeah, Mark. Before him, Magic Mikowski or whatever. Don Mikowski. Yeah, that he was.
Love it.
Yeah, he would play Poison songs on the acoustic guitar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. He was a multi-talented man. All right. Well, Mike Reiss, congratulations on making Felger look like a huge dick, and not only that, but dumb. You did that
Not
as
at
well.
all. Not at all.
You know you did. Go ahead.
You guys are the best.
All right.
See, there it is. That's all we wanted
Thank
out of
you,
this
Mike.
20 minutes.
And it was
Thank you.
sincere. He wasn't even thinking about it. All right, Mike Reiss, watch him on ESPN. He's the best. Mike, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, there
Thanks,
you
Mike.
go.
If you like that clip, and how could you not? Check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. Point slightly up and to the left. For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. Point slightly down and to the left. And for the latest from the Sports Hub, download at 985thesportshub.com.